Welcome back, my old friend.
Old friend, I was just on your fucking show like a week ago.
No, it was like 2 weeks ago.
Oh. Sorry.
I miss you. I'm
Hello.
clingy. I'm
I missed
clingy.
you too.
I miss you. Oh, thank you so much. How's it going over there in Missouri?
Missouri. You know I'm in Indiana.
I know, but you got a tongue piercing like someone from Missouri. So guess what is trending right now on Twitter?
Oh boy.
This is how I find my topics.
Culture, cancel.
No,
Right.
no.
Cancel, culture,
We're
cancel.
not doing that this episode. Says someone has unearthed old Wilkins coffee commercials made by Jim Henson, which involved unfortunate things happening to a puppet who doesn't drink the brand. And the first one is a puppet saying, "Do you drink Wilkins coffee?" And then dude says no, and the dude pulls out a revolver and shoots the puppet in the face.
What?
That's an old commercial. If you look at any old commercials back in the day, they are works of art, my friend. They are beauty in the making, I would say, because I believe we need that. Like commercials now are good. I saw a commercial the other day where it had like there was a dude driving in a car and it was different. I guess what you would say his wife was of a different ethnicity. So that was amazing to me. I was like, oh, that's cool. Times have finally caught up to her. It's showing like that's an actual thing. Yeah. I'm glad TV finally caught up. About 20 years late. Thanks. But back in the day, commercials were brutal, dude. Like, the infomercials, dude sits down on his couch. He's got like a thing of popcorn. Does this ever happen to you? And then he throws his whole popcorn up in the air. They're outrageous. Why don't we have those anymore? Where did they go? There used to be a guy that would sell you knives at 3:00 in the morning. Like, I own a whole damn knife store. I bought over 10,000 knives. And the reason why is I'm selling all my knives is because my wife has left me because I have 10,000 fucking knives. Like, you'd be like, this is a good commercial. It's going to make
It would start, did your wife leave you last night? Right? It'd be like, run out of Kleenex to wipe away your tears. Get these brand new knives.
Did your wife leave you last night? Well, here's a tip. Buy this 50-inch buck knife for now $29.99. And what will happen is you can slice that bitch's head off. And it's like, that's how the commercials went. That's how the commercial. Have you ever been trapped inside of your house with a psycho killer on the outskirts and it shows like a person inside their house like, go away. And the guy's like, hello? We're just selling Girl Scout cookies in the neighborhood. It's like, have you ever been berated by Jehovah's Witnesses? And it's a bunch of do you have a minute to talk about our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ? And it's like, well, here's a way to defend yourself. Rainbow brass knuckles. They'll keep those Bible beaters away from your home when you beat them in the face with your brass knuckles. And I'm like, I love these commercials.
Some of my favorite commercials, there's like the Tootsie Roll commercial. Everything turned into a Tootsie Roll. And it had the, Tootsie Roll power with the chocolatey chew. Tootsie Roll, I think I'm in love with you. Right? Remember that? Yeah, so you're too young, man. So I grew up with 80s commercials, right? And then the dude, owl. I saw the original. Hey, Mr. Owl, how many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Roll?
I like that one.
Let's find out. 1, 2, 3. 3.
It takes exactly 274 licks to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop. And let me tell you something. After I did that, who ruined it for me? My brother goes, that just depends on the lollipop and how much saliva you have in your mouth. So it's going to be different per lollipop and different per person. And I was like, so I just spent the whole hour of my day just licking and actually counting it, making sure I did not lose count. He goes, yeah, you basically just wasted a full on hour. I was like, honestly, it wasn't that much of a waste because the only thing else I was going to do was like probably like just watch paint dry. So it's fine.
Oh, boy.
You got to think now, like how fast society has progressed to the point where what keeps you entertained? And even the things like if you look back like 10 years ago, when I see games now, I'm like, wow, this is crazy. Like, remember Pac-Man was like the revolutionary thing? And it's like now you have.
Remember, once again, look who you're talking to. I had an Atari.
Are not even entertained by killing a hooker in a video game, sleeping with the hooker's sister, and then jumping out of a 5-story window while landing inside of a helicopter, then piloting down to a 1978 Ford Mustang, then driving that Mustang onto a yacht, doing a major cocaine drug deal, and then jet skiing back to land just to beat up bodybuilders on the beach. That is in Grand Theft Auto what you can do. And guess what? That doesn't even keep kids entertained now. They got to be on Facebook, got to be on Twitter, got to be on all these other things too. And I'm not trying to sound old, but it makes me wonder, like, eventually we're going to get to the point where nothing is going to keep our time occupied. And that just, I think, either creates depression or just creates a overwhelming urge in people to go and try and do something or make something. And then eventually you have people that are making things that shouldn't be making things.
I think that's absolutely fucking nuts because I grew up in the 80s, right? I lived through the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, and like now, right now we're in the 2020s or whatever the fuck you want to call it. And there is so much variety and options for someone to do. It's like insane. I mean, in like I said, you talk about video games. Yeah, in 1983, when I was like 6, I was playing like Atari and like, yeah, I was playing fucking Pac-Man and Pong, and that kept me busy. Oh, you know what I did? I actually went outside and I fucking played with my friends. Like,
Yeah, you had
right?
like poop on a stick and you chase somebody with it. That was always fun.
No, I never did that.
You have not lived, my friend. When you're
Oh,
running from dog shit, that is insane amount of fun.
but you know what I mean, right? So it's like you said it, like Facebook, Instagram, mobile phone games, this and that. I didn't have a fucking mobile phone game. I didn't any of that shit when I was younger. You had to be like creative and like you had to like, it's like the old saying, like you can buy a kid like a $200 toy, and then like you take a fucking ball and a fucking wooden spoon out of your kitchen and they fucking play with that for like 3 hours, and they only play with your $200 toy for like a minute, right? You got to use your imagination, man. So that's what's lacking in today's society is imagination, because there's so much shit out there. You're right. And everybody's like fucking zoned, right? Everybody's zoned in.
Yeah, but I feel like it also gets hard. Like, you ever try and create something and you have like a really good idea, then you write it down and you realize you just took bits and pieces off of different ideas or things that you've seen and put
But
it into one?
that's what you do. And it's not stealing per se. It's still being creative because another idea helped you be creative. It's in your own way, right? It's not unless you're completely thefting it, right? If it's not identical, it's still you being creative and you having a creative outlet. Hence, even if you copy it halfway, maybe the second time you do it, a little less. The third time, the fourth time, when you get to the 10th time, it's 100% creative and your vision.
Oh my God, I just had a great movie idea. Imagine a hot tub that goes back in time.
Oh boy.
Think about it.
It's already a movie.
And then we get the guy who played Edgar Allan Poe to be one of the characters in this movie. We're going to call it, oh my God, Hot Tub Time Machine. Think of it. That's a perfect movie pitch. I got to write that down before someone uses it.
Okay, but you could take that concept and instead of using a hot tub, you could use something different. I mean, come on, dude. A DeLorean, Back to the Future, hot tub, time machine, or fucking Avengers Endgame fucking stole the storyline from Back to the Future. They just did it in a different way. There you go.
Is it because of the time period that movie came out is why it's so popular, you think now? Or do you think it's just that everyone has, well, let's say Back to the Future, for instance. That movie came out in like a very crucial time period, but it somehow slipped to be like this main trendy thing where everybody knows Back to the Future. Everybody's seen it. Everybody's seen Jaws. Were those people, those directors really ahead of their time creating movies back then that have lasted an impact? Or is it something that we can all relate to, such as wanting to go back in time, or such as being afraid of sharks, or such as like, maybe that's why Star Wars is so popular. People have an aspiration for wanting to go into the future. Is it that concept that they're preying on that initial thing I feel like is installed inside of all of us, which is either a certain fear or a certain, like, that's what fear used to be. Fear used to be this thing that it's instinctual inside of us to make you question things, to be like, maybe I shouldn't pet that saber-toothed tiger because it's going to bite my hand off. But now we've taken that and we've turned it into this manipulative thing of your mind where it's like in your head, you're like, maybe I shouldn't tweet this because this is going to be offensive to somebody, or
Oh boy.
maybe I shouldn't say this because maybe it's going to hurt their feelings. There's those warning signs, but now we've manipulated it into something that's like now everyone's just to be afraid to think or talk or do anything because
So you want to talk to Gina Carano, obviously, right? Because I'm huge in the
I
Star
don't
Wars.
know who she is.
And you want to talk about the Gina Carano incident that happened last week where she got let go from Lucasfilm because of tweeting her political views. And basically and it wasn't the first tweet, okay? She basically compared it to the Holocaust. So, um, so that could be considered a very, very
Okay, then
sensitive
I'm going to cancel
topic.
anybody that relates anything to something somebody did that was bad to Hitler. Because you know how many people use that as a reference? Oh, that's as bad as Hitler. It's like, okay, why is that guy? Did he slipped in the system? I know he did a horrible thing, but there's plenty of people out there that are way worse than him.
Yeah, I honestly, I just think it's like I said, she got canceled. Like I said, cancel culture is like really big right now.
But she got picked
Eh,
up for another movie deal.
She did.
She didn't.
She did.
So here's the difference between cancel culture, how everyone uses it, is that you'll never be able to work again. It's not saying you're going to be worked, you're never going to work again. It's saying that whatever you were originally doing that they got fired from, you are canceled from. You're not on that anymore. You can still do more work. Some people have gotten that misconstrued.
Yeah, she's canceled from Star Wars. I
Yes.
mean, they have stopped her toy line. Everything has been halted
Do you want to be a
on.
toy though? Like, do you
I would
really?
love to be
You
a
would
Star Wars toy. Oh
imagine
yeah.
a kid is discovering their body and they use your
Oh
action
god.
figure to
Oh
do so.
boy. If that's hey, I say this all the time. If you can get a little entertainment from me, any way, shape, or form, talking behind my back, making fun of me, whatever, my job is done.
That answer will change when I tell you there's a 40-year-old guy in a bathtub playing with you, acting like you're a GI
Fine.
Joe.
That's fine. I helped him out. I helped him out play make believe once. What did you say? Using his imagination. That brings me back to my bathtub days. What did I do in the bathtub? Yeah, I had my Star Wars guys or toys in the bathtub, pretending, making up stories, using my imagination. Does anybody take baths anymore? I think everybody takes showers,
I
right?
know a lot of people that take baths, and to me, it's disgusting.
What's
I,
oh, because you're in filthy water, right?
well, it's just like I don't. How many people clean their asshole 100%? Like I'm just saying, no, there's a little shit speckle still in there. I guarantee to
Nope.
you. It's
Nope.
like when
It's
I
like
was
when I
going to
go to
the
the bathroom,
bathroom.
my friend. It's like when I go to the bathroom, I will use 20,000 pads of toilet paper
Just
until
because
it's
you're
clean.
wiping and there's nothing else that's being shown, it
I'll
doesn't mean
use a wipe. I'll use
inside
a
of
wipe.
your.
I'll use the wipe, the moist,
No,
you know
no,
what I'm talking
no.
about.
Even the bidet has on their commercial. The commercial even says in the bidet to get all the spots that you think you haven't gotten, and that's the aspect of inside of you. There's still stuff that in there that your hand can't go up and reach. That your fingers probably could if you really did went into that weird style of things. That when you sit in a bathtub, it's all the water's going to go and flush that out. So I'm like, you're just going to be sitting in your own shit. That's why people have bath bombs because they don't want to see their own shit flying in the bathtub. They want
That's
to know
fine.
that they're soaking in a purple or bluish glitter thing.
Maybe they do what I do because as an adult, if I do take a bath and I just want to like relax in some like hot water, when I'm done with the bath, drain the water, and I take a shower immediately after I'm done taking a bath. That makes me feel more clean
What's the point of the bath?
because it relaxes you because you're sitting in warm, like
Oh,
hot. I like
fucking
hot
get a
water because
therapy
you.
stress ball or
Oh, but what
something,
do you
dude.
mean dude? That could be therapy. Sitting in just hot water.
Sit in the shower then. Sit in the
No,
shower.
it's not the same.
Yes, it is. I have a shower
No, it's
chair.
not because the water's only hitting you at one spot. When you're in the bathtub, you're completely soaked.
That's when you rotate like a fucking taquito on a roller at 7-Eleven. You rotate
No,
yourself, playa.
no,
You got to.
no. I'm rotating shit. I'm gonna take a bath and then I'll take a shower. Anybody listening, tell me if that's what you would do. Take a bath, then just take a shower. and
That's
you're
like
clean.
pooping after you get out of the
And then
shower.
your fucking thing that you just told me, asshole shit, you get slithers out when I'm taking it. That's fine because you take a shower
I
afterwards.
would
You're clean.
expect nothing more from a Mister Rogers fan.
Oh, he's a saint.
No, he's not.
Saint.
I have
And I
so
don't give a
many.
shit what your fucking psychic said. I don't give a fuck. He's a saint and he's never done anything to any children except educate them and entertain them.
Pick if I could give you the option to pick one thing from your childhood to bring back, what would it be? It could be a TV show. It could be a food that is now not available anymore. Um,
Oh,
anything.
food, Elio's pizza, but that might be an East Coast thing.
What do you mean that
And I
might be an
grew up this
East
pizza
Coast
called
thing?
Elio's Pizza. It was a frozen pizza, and it was the one that came in like square. I don't. So I've never seen them here in Indiana. It was like squares, and you could break. They broke into like 3 pieces, and it was like frozen. You put it in the oven, and oh my god, it was my favorite pizza when I was a kid. Elio's Pizza.
This is
So
an
if
important
anybody's ever
question.
heard of it, let me know.
This is an important question. How do you like the little pizza squares, like the really really thin crust pizzas, the one that's
Oh
like
yeah,
paper?
yeah.
That's
There's a
terrible.
yes.
Oh
There's
my
the
god,
yes
you bite
yes.
into it, it's like shattered
No, no, no,
glass.
no, 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 no. Here in Indiana, there's a place called Pizza King. Best thin crust pizza. Yeah, the little squares. Oh, I love it. Love it so much. Yeah. I'm a big pizza guy. I love pizza, man. So I love the thick crust, Chicago style, New York style, Brooklyn style, uh, thin crust, hand tossed. I like it all.
I bet you do like it hand tossed.
Oh boy.
I bet you do. It's funny. It's like people are like, I'm surprised how much food is really popular in today's world. Like, not even what a year ago, we were fighting over a Popeye's chicken sandwich, and then whatever a chick,
Dude, those sandwiches were so good.
and then on Twitter, whatever, someone put up the Arby's Mountain of Meat sandwich, and it looked like when you get your pizza, but the guy, as he was carrying it to your steps or to your door or whatever, he just shook it up in the box so it's all the slices are all over the place. Um, that was a thing that we had at Domino's or whatever. You had pizza insurance, where it was
Yeah.
if your pizza got ruined on the way to your house or whatever, how many people are ruining their pizza on the way to their house? If you got into a car accident, I could see, but if you slip on your steps, oh, with an extra $10, you'll have pizza insurance. How many people bought into that? Like, that is just nuts to me.
It's free here in Indiana, so it's Domino's does it, so it's free.
Because
So
Domino's is awesome.
so if you mess your pizza up when you pick it up, by the time you get it home, you go back and they'll remake your order free, no extra charge, no nothing. I mean, it's your time, but I think that's cool. No other pizza place will do that.
I want to
Yeah,
bring back, if I had to choose something from my past, or bowling alleys.
they're still around.
Not like how they used to be, though.
Did you ever do it's called like the Cosmic Bowl? So you do it at midnight. You show up at the bowling alley and they shut off all the lights and they do strobe lights and they play loud music and you bowl. You're with your friends and yeah, you bowl. It's loud music and
Yeah, I
strobe
mean,
lights. It's like a
that
rave. It's like a bowling rave.
that's the thing. Like, they do that without it being midnight too. Like, my
No,
bowling
I know.
alley
I'm
does
just
that. But
that was my favorite time to do it when I was younger.
the reason why is because I went bowling like a few months back, and it was all upgraded. Like, they had couches instead of like the really crappy little seats that they had, the little
Oh, so
plastic ones.
uncomfortable.
And then the two that would sit up at the game thing where you would have the little game control where the ball return was, that was gone. They just completely made it like revolutionized it or whatever in their eyes. And they made it way too new, where I'm like, I like the classic old stuff. I liked it where you could, I used to be, after the Big Lebowski, after I watched that movie, there's two things I did. I made a White Russian because I wanted to know what kind of drink that was, and it is delicious. And then also I got insanely into bowling, where I was getting like 200 something a game. Like, I was getting intense. Now I could probably barely break 50. It's just a skill you end up losing. But I was so into it because there's games are cheap, shoes are cheap, all that stuff's cheap. And I'm like, it was so much fun because, like, if you look at it back in the day, you could smoke, you could, go over to like the really crappy food place that's over there, get some cheese fries, and you feel like shit afterwards. But it was like an experience, much like going to a movie theater, much like doing a lot of old things where now everything's all dumbed down and stuff. Like, my boardwalk in my town has gotten to the point where it's not even fun going on anymore. I used to have so many good memories of longboarding down this giant, like, couple miles of just board planks, and literally like you're on a pier just all the way down for a couple of miles. Now it's like not even fun, not anything for families anymore. It's just this whole thing where it's like our the amusement rides that are on there, nobody's really going on those anymore. And I know because of COVID and all that, but it's an aspect of it's just changed. Like this past year has took the wind out of the sails for everything. And I'm like, there's got to be a way we can revamp this. Like water parks, gone forever. You're never going to taste somebody's ass water in your mouth anymore because water parks are, you talk about taking a bath. That's a bath. That's a respectable bath.
All right. Number one, White Russian was the very first drink I ever had in a bar when I turned 21. So that was my very first drink in a bar. It was a White Russian.
That's kind of manly. I mean, people don't look at you down for that. Like if you ordered a mudslide and it was your 21st birthday, people are like, what is wrong with you?
Well, my buddy bought it for me and I didn't know what he was going to get me. And he got me a White Russian. So I didn't even know what it was.
He got your virginity card is what he got.
Yeah. All right. So there's that. Number two, man, I think that's it. White Russian. No. So bowling alleys, bowling's fun. But like I said, I think the nighttime bowling is good. I don't know about I haven't been bowling in so long. So I don't know if the ones around here have been upgraded or whatnot. I got a question. Do you have like the professional bowling thing where you slide your leg behind the other one and the ball like curves. So like it curves to the right and then it goes to the middle. Or do you just, or do you just,
I just normal bowl, but the person I used to go with all the time, he did the whole spinning thing. He had his own setup. Like he was in leagues and then he got me interested in it after I watched The Big Lebowski with him. But I mean, I own a bowling ball, but I bought it for like $2 at a thrift store, just because when you go to a thrift store, it's like, I don't know what it is about it. If I have $5, I'm a rich man. Like I'm going through old CD albums and records and stuff like that, pulling out like I have an Ink Spots record, I have a Bill Cosby record, I have all these types of things where people toss it out as junk, but it's really kind of like.
Wait a minute. Did you say Bill Cosby record?
Yeah, he has.
Wait a minute.
Do stand-up album.
You like Bill Cosby? You support Bill Cosby?
I don't support what he did, but I like to. I mean, we can't just dismiss his whole career. You yell at me for talking about cancel culture too much, and then you go and bring up cancel culture. Come on now.
No, I bring it up because you give me shit about Mr. Rogers, but then you bring it up.
I'm not a fan of what he did at all, but I mean, you can't denounce the man's career. Like I'm not denouncing Mr. Rogers' career of him being a talented television star or host or whatever, but I feel like there's a couple bodies in the basement. I'm just saying.
It's never been proven. That's why you can't.
There are a lot of accounts of it out there, but nobody's went through with it.
Compare him.
It's because he's dead. Nobody wants to pick on a dead guy. Put on the gloves. Tell him to hold him up.
Yeah. Oh, you mean like they did with Michael Jackson? What Oprah Winfrey did with Michael Jackson? Yeah, let's come out with a special and be like, hey, he molested this person, this person. He's dead. He's dead. Oh, you didn't see the Neverland documentary?
No, I didn't see the child one on Netflix either. What was it called?
No, I don't know about the Netflix one, but the one that was on HBO, it had the guys, and they were just like, yeah, he molested me. Michael Jackson is dead. Like, he's not even here to defend himself. And then Oprah did a big special afterwards and interviewed him longer. And oh my God, talk about poor taste.
It's a passion for people to want to pick on something that can't defend itself.
But he's dead.
That's the thing, is they want to pick on something that can't defend itself.
Like if he was alive, I'd be like, okay, let's hear you out. But man, I mean, come on.
Well, you got to think of views too, man. How many of those things are just made because of the views and stuff? Like nobody really cares about the aspect of like what's going to be entertaining. It's the only reason why Jerry Springer's like, how is that even a show? Like, this is what gets me too. I went to school for addiction counseling and all that too. And then I told you about that podcast I listened to where that guy said that addiction was bullshit. You're not really addicted to a drug. You're addicted to the feeling of something that's relieving you from the pain that you're experiencing. That's true though. I started looking up like statistics and rehab and everything like that. All those people, they're there like, I'm licensed to treat you for heroin addiction. Okay, you treat the person off heroin addiction, then they get out of the rehab and then they go home and they pick up another addiction because the problem, it wasn't the drug. The problem was that they're suffering in their marriage. So they went to a drug to get off of that pain. So then they end up going back to the rehab. That's why like there's like a large statistic of 65% of people return back to rehabs. And I'm like, it's a fucking money machine. It's just you paying all this money, running either through your insurance or out of your pocket to keep going back to the same system that's not really treating the core issue. It's treating the minor issue. It's treating the one that is everyone is worried about, when the real issue should be, why is this person turning to these types of things? And that's what I started looking at. Like the whole everything, the whole system is fucking like
So you
that.
brought it up, like Patch Adams, like, right? You treat the person and not the right and not the disease,
Yeah.
right? And you always win when you treat the person and not the disease. And that can get locked into exactly what you're saying with, okay, so someone's, strung out on heroin, right? Because that's what happens, right? You treat the heroin. You're treating the heroin with the person, but when you treat the person, you'll overcome the bigger obstacle, which is the person, not the drug.
Yeah.
Right. So like I said, it's funny how even something as silly as like that movie, because I mean, I only know him because of the movie, and you brought him up on your podcast, but like I remember that from the movie is his philosophy was treating people and, not the disease. And you always win. Even if they die, like I said, even if they die, you still win because you treated the person while they were still living. And that's quality of life, right? So we talk about, you know, all that stuff, but what people don't talk about is the quality of a human being, and what is lost in today's world is the quality of a human being. And because everybody's so plugged in on social media and worried about social media, worried about their thumbs up, their likes, their dislikes, their this or their that, and people have stopped looking inside of people and looking for, the goodness in people. So
I
it's a
think
huge problem.
it also hits a point of the when it comes to, like, if you want to talk about cancel culture, if you want to talk about people just attacking other famous people, it's an aspect of, like, there's a statue, like in Greek mythology, when people started kind of losing faith in the gods, they would take down their statues of Zeus. That's why we only have few statues left when we try and maintain them, is because people just, they were like, why did we build this giant thing and love this person so much? It's like if you have a favorite food you eat 24/7, then one day you have a bad experience with that food and you never want to eat it again. People are kind of doing that with, like, people when they're attacking on social media. It's the aspect of they're trying to take you down a peg because they don't want you higher up than them. And it really boils down to this aspect of things of when you start looking at everything that's keeping our attention, everything that is slowly becoming like it's going to need more and more and more and more. It's not only social media's fault, but it's also an idea of how good we have it now. We have it so well where people can complain about gas or complain about bills. But back in the day, you used to have to complain about trying to find food for the next day. It's this idea that I think we've become way too comfortable because we've isolated ourselves from things around us, which is like insane. It's like I saw so many people freak out that we finally landed on Mars and they're seeing pictures and stuff like that. And it's like, how far until we're in space travel? How far from space travel until we're colonizing on other planets? How far? Everything turns into a freaking game, man. It's all about this, that. It's not really thinking in a one set mind anymore. It's thinking about, I want to be better than the other person. And it's a mentality that's funded. We saw this back in the Industrial Revolution with the Luddite movement. People were afraid machines were going to take over their jobs. So people would destroy printing presses and all these types of things that were taking them out of business, on the aspect that they weren't going to have a job to feed their family anymore. It was a protective thing, and we're turning that protectiveness into attacking.
It's that one friend that you have. Everybody listening, you know who I'm talking about. It doesn't matter what you say. It doesn't matter what it's about. Hey man, hey, what'd you do over the weekend? Oh, I bought a new, I ended up getting a new couch for the living room. Oh, really? How much you pay for it? Well, like it's any of your business, but like $800. Pretty nice couch. Oh man, that's awesome. I got a new couch like 2 weeks ago, and it was like $1,500. Oh, but I got it on sale for like
The
500.
one
So
upper.
yeah, everybody has like somebody like this. Like I used to work with somebody like this. Anytime I said anything, he always had a story that he did it better than me, cheaper than me, faster than me, whatever. Every, and like, so after a while, I stopped like telling him stuff that I did. And like, he would just tell me. So like, even though he couldn't one up me because I stopped telling him things, he would just be like, hey, Mike, over the weekend, I went and bought a new couch. Guess how much I spent? It turns into that. And I'm like, how much? He's like, guess. And I'm like, I don't know, $1,000. Well, the couch was like 1,500, but I ended up spending 500. Aren't I so smart, Mike? Yeah, you're awesome. Right now, it turned into that. It turned into him putting himself up on a pedestal over and over and over and over. I'm so smart. Look at me. I'm so smart. Which we want to bring that back to social media. Look at me. Look at me. You know what I think the problem with social media? You brought it up on one of your podcasts lately is they don't teach people to write cursive. My son didn't learn how to write cursive. My daughter did, but my son didn't. They like stopped it at that point when my son got to that grade. So with social media, do they teach us anything about social media? No. So I think there needs to be, it sounds stupid, but they need to incorporate a social media class when we're younger to teach us how to behave on social media, teach us what is proper to post and this and that. It sounds silly, but the younger you catch it and you start it and you educate, like I said, I'm going to turn into educate. The faster you educate people on social media on how to use it, when to use it. And you talk about addiction, dude, social media is very addicting. And if you educate early enough, I think now, since it's part of our everyday lives, I think that might control it in the future. Because, dude, there is no education on it. You can do whatever you want.
It's like a sex talk, but we're going to call it the social media talk.
Yes, it's like health class, except yes.
That's so hard though, because like I just don't think we're not adapting to the fact of how far technology is progressing. You can make your social media pretty positive if you choose to, but the hard part is the distrust. Is you don't know if that's fake positivity, like people that are saying, "Oh, I'm happy for you," but slowly in their mind they're like, "I hope you fucking die." Like
you don't know.
It makes me think. I've been thinking about this a lot recently. Is like, imagine if I could just go to a planet where nobody's there. It's just me and just being able to do what I want to do. And I start to think, I'm like, the weirdest thing about people's mindsets are you could be alone. You would want to be by yourself. You wouldn't want anybody else to be around. You just want to be by yourself, like me on that planet or whatever. But then you would get lonely and you would want communication. You'd want that connection. You want to talk
you
to
start
people.
talking the blocks of ice that you froze human beings in.
Okay, that's a foreshadow into another episode. But then eventually after that, there's also the other way around where it's like if you're around people too many times, you want people around you, but then that's not good because then you get mad at other people. You start creating aggressions in life. And it's like there's a give and take here. I'm trying to figure out what that is. And like I said, with my app idea of talking about people, like talking to a random person for an hour a day or something, there just needs to be like not more therapy, but an overall more connection factor. And I see that happening is when you actually have things you need to do to survive. You actually have, we have it way too good. As much as people talk about complaining about, like, remember when last year Facebook and Twitter were down? That was the biggest thing. It was for like what, a couple of hours. And next thing you know, everyone's freaking out. I can't post. I can't post. Is your phone working? It's like the fact that that happened before, like, you pissed your pants or something like that. Like, it's nuts. Like, people are like, their expectations or their priorities are headed towards a different route. And that goes, I mean, even with me, sometimes I'm on social media and I'm like, I can see this thing can go down a bad. It's addicting. It's fun to play on your phone and it occupies your time, but I don't see that. Like, is that time that you remember? Like, you remember certain times of going to amusement park with your family rather than using your device. You know what I mean? You don't remember, like, what was I doing on my phone for the past 6 hours? I think I was just randomly
like
liking
moments,
posts.
like
Yeah.
moments. Like I say this all the time with people is, you right, because we live 365 days a year. You're not going to remember everything, and you don't remember everything. But what you do remember are moments. Like, yeah, I remember taking my kids to the Children's Museum. I remember going to an amusement park with them. I remember going, to the Great Wolf Lodge with them. I remember doing this. And like I remember my son at wrestling matches, meet his hero, John Cena. He actually got to hug him at a wrestling event. Like, that is stuff do I remember what I was doing on my phone No, no, I don't remember what I was doing on my phone like 2 days ago. No, that's what I'm saying. I don't know. It's just, I'm actually trying to make a really good effort to try to be on my phone less, even though it's hard, right? 'Cause do YouTube, podcasting. So it's hard to be off my phone. Um, because, I'm just so absorbed in, doing YouTube and podcasting and whatnot. And how you have to be on social media. And it's tough for me, man, because I was never big on social media before I started the podcast. So I knew when I got into podcasting, social media kind of freaked me out. And I was just like, I'm not really big on social media. And I don't like putting my life out there at all on social media. I'm like one of those people. I'm like a really reserved person that doesn't like to share what's going on in my life. So, and I have to, being, on YouTube and podcasting somewhat, but it's for me, like I said, and maybe it's because I'm old school. I was around before social media, so I don't need it. Hey, I don't care if you believe me or if you don't. I don't need Facebook. I don't need Instagram. I could do my day-to-day life without it. Um, I'm fine as long as I have Netflix.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I would just, yeah, I'd rather, I love watching movies. I love watching movies and TV shows. I love, playing music and, uh, playing video games and, and, going out, spending time with my family or my dogs or whatever, man. I have lots of other things to keep myself occupied rather than being on social media a majority of my time. And like I said, the majority of my social media time is for YouTube, is for my podcast. You don't see any personal stuff about me except, stuff that I buy for, with my Star Wars stuff. I'd be like, hey, look what I found at a Target or something. But yeah, you don't see a lot of personal stuff that I post on there because I just try to be real private. I don't know, and that's what people have lost, is that privacy. And people right, I mean, hey, even me, right, it'd be awesome to be famous and this and that, and people want that feeling. Look at how many people liked my picture. That's 500 people that like my picture. You kind of feel like a celebrity, right?
But
You like it. Makes
is
you
the
feel good.
yeah, but I feel like if you look at it in the grand scheme of things, of the fact of how many of those people are going to take a bullet for you? I know
Zero,
100% I would take a
maybe
bullet for
one,
you. I would take
maybe
a
one.
bullet for you.
Ah,
And
thanks,
I've
man.
never even met you in real life, and that's
I
the
might,
aspect of connections you can make.
I might take one in the arm for you.
I'd take a headshot.
I'm just kidding, man.
But I
You're
value
good.
my life a little bit lower than I value others because
You're a
I'm a
good
heartful
and
person.
and look, man, for anybody listening, if this is a first time listener, this guy Robbie, he's a good dude, man, and I've known him for going on
Stop with the
3 years
compliments,
now.
with
Here we
that
go.
the
I know everybody
compliments.
does this. This is a good guy. He's got a good heart, and he's a good person. And at the end of the day, he's real positive and always tries to look at the positive views. And he's very, very open minded. And that's what I love about you, man. With all the different, dude, why do you think I listen to your podcast when I'm on the treadmill? I'm on the treadmill jogging.
It's a bad time to listen to that. Well,
I
hold
love
on.
it.
Well, now that the gun's away from your head, you can tell me how you really feel. But on an aspect of it starts to, I started I remember how so infatuated I was with my own life, where I only wanted to be this lover. I wanted everyone to love me. I wanted because I spent so much time as a kid being alone with my thoughts and stuff. And it's weird how much I was so used to that. I really hated it. And then now I'm kind of it's my safe zone. It's my enjoyment spot. It's my thought of where I want to think about things. But my perspective on life has changed and my idea of people has changed. The weird idea is that we are so overcome with our own emotions to want to get something for us rather than work together as people to overcome something as a group. And that's with some people, not with everybody. But it makes me question bigger things that we should be fighting right now. Like the reason why I've always been so upset with PETA is because there's other issues in the world I think that they should be focusing on. Same thing with, you know, just recently, probably by the time this episode comes out, it'll be 2 weeks now. Um, my uncle passed away because he couldn't get his health insurance to cover his cancer treatments. Now, for someone in my position where I had been fighting against the John Hopkins for over a year and a half to get a medication, I looked at it like I finally won and then he lost. So it really kind of put a thing in my head where I was like, why did I deserve this and then he deserved that? It didn't, it was, I know it's weird thinking, but if you start thinking of the grand scheme of things, that there's other systems out there, people are so scared of politics or they're so into it that they don't know how to talk right. It's really a divide here. And it's like, we're only shooting ourselves in the foot. We're not really going anywhere with it. That's why I was so big on the aliens thing when it was coming down here. I was like, it's a way to unite us at something bigger and better out there. I loved it when we landed on Mars because everybody was like, we fucking landed on Mars. I'm like, yes, this is it. The we, that's us. Like, holy shit. Like, we got to bring back moments like that's why I like things back in the days when something happened in like a society or in a group. It happened with everyone. Everyone was like, yeah, that's awesome. We landed on the fucking, and that's why I think the moon thing is a hoax too. At least the video. Come on, dude. Don't fucking tell me.
So first, I'm so sorry about your uncle hearing him pass away. So my condolences out to you for that. That really sucks. Um, but is there footage of us landing on Mars?
Yeah, there is. They got it from the drone. You weren't,
Okay.
did you not watch it when it was happening live?
Dude,
I know. I
I
randomly
don't
was on
watch.
Twitter on my computer. And next thing
I
I know, I
don't
see
watch
that we're
that
landing on
stuff.
Mars. I'm like, holy shit. God, did anybody know we're landing on Mars today? Everyone's like, yeah, it's a big thing. I'm like, oh, I didn't know.
Yeah.
People memed it too. That's how you like people always talk about like they knew the internet came back when they started seeing Bernie Sanders memes. Well, guess what? Somebody was like the first result on Mars, and it's a video of like 20 seconds of it looking around the surface of Mars. And then as it gets to the last 5 seconds, it's just Bernie sitting in a chair. I'm like, the
Oh
internet.
my god, it's stupid, dude. Because I sit at a computer all day at my job, and all I hear, I got like Google up. All I see is Trump acquitted, Biden, Biden blah, Trump blah blah blah, Biden blah blah blah, Trump blah blah. It's just, dude, that's like right. It's all that's like thrown in our face is Trump this, Biden that, blah 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 blah.
They
Just,
need to start doing like what they did when I told you about. Remember that when I was telling you from Bob Saget's perspective of when 9/11 happened, he was inside of his home and his kids were away at his ex-wife's house. He was watching all this terrible news of these planes going, into the buildings and stuff like that. And as these towers were falling, he flipped over to a different news channel and it was Mrs. Doubtfire. And he just watched Mrs. Doubtfire that night. And he talked to a few people where they talked about watching Mrs. Doubtfire when that happened. And I think that's important that we need to start bringing stuff like that back. Not Mrs. Doubtfire per se, but an idea that you need to start bringing back things that are less like you're showing a lot of bad. Show some good, please. Like the news should be reporting on like a puppy was saved from a fire, like something that's going to have you start your day off with something good. Because the issue is they're ramping people up to 10 and then nobody's bringing you back down from 10. When you go and work out, you warm up and then you work out and then it's over. But now there's no warm up. It's throwing you straight into the fire and it's getting you so pissed off and pent up where it's like, that's why people are so exit social media. That's why people are so exit the media, exit anything. No, don't watch the news. Don't do this. It's because it's ramping you up to 10 and it's not bringing you back down. There needs to be like a cool down phase, like where it's like, hey, now we just showed you a terrible accident. We're going to start bringing you back down with some like, bring back AFV. I'll pay Bob Saget to go back on television.
Carlton, he does the new one. The guy
Yeah.
from Fresh Prince. Yeah. Alfonso, he posts the newest one. But yeah, man, like I've never watched the news. I'm totally against it. Just exactly what you said. Um, it's just bad after bad after bad after bad after bad after bad story. And like I said, just sitting here at my desk and opening up Yahoo or Google or whatever, it's just bad story after bad story after bad headline after bad headline after bad headline. And you wonder why I watch YouTube videos all day.
Well, even
Not
that,
about
like
that stuff.
a Facebook videos, like instead of like Wish shows you some really weird shit. Like Wish shows you like I don't even know, like you want to talk about like GIMP outfits and stuff, and I go and click on it. It's like download the app. I'm like, hold on, can you just show me why you're showing me these results? Like, what did I say in a conversation that led to GIMP outfits? But then even when you're on Facebook, the videos they go from like really serious political news debates, Trump style thing. You're freaking me out with what you're doing on the video. I know you're trying to get your camera to refocus, but all the people listening, he's doing hand gestures and like he's sucking my soul out of him. Get over here. Like,
Dude, oh, did you see the trailer? Did you
dude,
see the new
no,
Mortal Kombat
stop.
trailer?
You're
Oh, it's
hyping
so good.
you're hyping it up way too much
It's
in your mind.
no. It's really good.
Look,
It's
it's better
so
than
good.
the original, but then there are some things about it where I was like, this is going to be not as good as people want it
Did
to
you
be.
watch it? Now, if
I
this is
saw
coming
it.
out 2
It's
weeks
not.
ago, this trailer came out like 2.5 weeks ago.
Yeah, I saw it. It's not bad, but there's other important things like Arby's meat sandwich to worry about on Twitter rather than watching the trending movie of Mortal Kombat. I think there needs to be a little bit more of like, I like the revamp of the old stuff, but you got to make sure you do it right because I don't think it works out in quite a way that like I would love to bring back phone booths. I think that would be an amazing thing to bring back.
There's no point. We all have cell phones.
But how many people would put down their cell phone just to use the phone booth?
Nah, they sucked, man.
I don't know.
I grew up with them.
I feel like if they brought them back, there'd be something where even if it was just for aesthetic appeal, like
You'd have to memorize your phone number again.
there is going to be maybe 1,000 years in the future, people looking back on us, and they're going to look at like they're going to have replica models set up. Hopefully they pick the correct time period because I want them to remember some stuff back in the day, such as like families sitting down and having dinner together rather than how we're at now. It's like, well, then there was this couple of 100 years where the progression of man kind of stopped when everybody was just eating inside of their room and watching Netflix all day instead of caring about one another. And it's like, when did the communication fade? Well, I mean, eventually they just got their devices, got so wrapped up inside of them that they didn't want to spend time with each other anymore. And it's like, oh, that's not going to happen to us, is it? And the dad's texting on his phone.
Yeah, it's already happened. Like you can't even go to the dinner table without your fucking phone. I tell you, dude, even now, like you go out to, I went to a restaurant today and just so everybody out there, do this. The next time you go out to a restaurant, just, look up casually and just look around. Look and then count how many people are on their cell phones in a restaurant, sitting at a table with other people. Just count how many people are on their phones and it'll baffle your fucking mind. It's almost everybody. Like they're not talking, right? They're on their phones. And the waiter comes up and says, "Hey, what do you want to drink?" Huh? What'd you say? What? Yeah, you see, that happens. So
how many people are going to be left to say so much wasted time at the end of their days?
Yeah, dude, once again, like there's such wasted times on our devices that it's people say sleep, right? And I know you
your
you
camera's
don't.
not going to adjust, so you can point at me as much as you want. It's not going to happen. You've done this force pull thing 1,000 times.
It should. But we use like the sleep analogy, right? We sleep, right? I don't know, 50 years of our lives away out of however long we're alive, and you sleep a couple hours a night, 2, 3, 4 hours a night. So you try to get the most of the time that you have being awake rather than half of that time being asleep. So good for you, man, because I couldn't live off of 2 or 3, 4 hours of sleep a night.
Well, here's another thing that you're doing right now is what is a problem with people too, is the aspect of trying to compare themselves to somebody else. Not in the aspect of like, oh, you have it better, but that's what people do, is the aspect of you have this, you have that. It's like,
I can't sleep for 2 fucking hours a night like you. I can't.
That's not but you are who you are though. That's the thing though, is you work with what you got, and people don't want to work with what they got anymore. They see something that someone else has and they get jealous. That's the craziest thing.
But I'm not jealous. I would rather sleep. So
there you go. See, what I'm saying with most people though, they would be like, I wish I could be as productive as you. I wish I could be like this as you. It's like,
not me. I'd rather sleep. Hey, you go do your extra podcast. I'm going to be fucking sleeping.
If anything, I'm playing freaking Dragon City or something on my phone for an extra couple hours. That keeps me up, dude. Let me tell you something. I could sit here and talk trash on social media or the phone being a divisive little bastard or whatever, but I'm telling you, that phone without Dragon City, it's useless to me.
It's like me with Clash Royale. All right. You have Dragon City, I have Clash Royale. But I'm the leader of a clan, Are you a
You don't.
leader?
You do
Are
not
you
want to say that
are
on
you
the
a
internet.
are
I
you
can't
a
believe you
clan
just said that. I hope somebody
leader?
sound bites that. I hope
I'm
somebody
a
sound.
clan leader in Clash Royale, a
Stop
mobile
saying
game.
it. You're not making it
What, clan
better.
leader?
Oh my God. Don't say that. Great. Now I can see the headlines now. Mike Lando.
Is that gonna be the thumbnail?
Oh my goodness. Say you're a
Get
cult leader,
over
if
it,
anything.
people.
Say if you're a
You're
cult
fucking
leader.
sensitive, right?
Cult leaders aren't bad. Well, did you see the news that came out about the Vatican?
No.
This
So
was just recently because they're still doing open confessions and people talking to other people, but they refuse to wear masks because it's part of their religion. Now the camera focused. Finally, 50 minutes into a podcast episode.
the
Congratulations. You
hand
got him.
trick, it works.
He got it, David Copperfield style. For people watching the video, that's going to be funny for you. For people with audio, you're going to be like, what the hell just happened? But the Vatican, for instance, they had something that just came out about their people refusing to wear masks or wear stuff that covers up their face because it's against their own views and their own religion. And so now people are looking at them like, hey, you got to wear masks because this is what we're doing to open back up as a society. So you're not following the rules, but they're like, that conflicts with my own emotions and feelings. So the way they're solving that is all the people that are priests in there that don't want to wear masks and go into the confession booths to hear people, they get put onto a different job that has less interaction with the people, which is now creating a conflict. And I'm like, this is not the only time you're seeing this. You saw this with everyone. I think the hashtags that are really trending now in our US are things with Ted Cruz, because he went to Cancun and he told people they have to be locked down inside of their houses. And you just got recently, people took pictures of him on a flight. Like, you're telling people to be locked down inside of their homes and you're flying to Cancun. He had to fly back immediately. And I think now he's either going to get fired or something's going to happen to him.
Yeah, just wear your mask. I don't like wearing masks. Who does? I hate it, but I'm gonna do it because that's what we're supposed to do. And if that's what we have to do in public and wear a mask, I'm gonna wear a mask. I hate it. It's funny. I had this conversation today. I think I said, I think we're gonna have to wear masks for the rest of the year. God, that fucking sucks.
Fauci
But
said 10 more years.
oh God, please no. I hate it. I can't stay. Like I said, once again, when you do the mask, because I wear glasses too, but like, so if you have glasses and the hat and the mask, oh man, around your ears, it's fucking terrible, man.
It's like when
And
you're trying to get out of your car and you have your phone, you have your keys, you have your wallet, you have like 50 other items and stuff. If you
yeah.
don't have a purse, it's a pain in the ass.
Or in your case, a fanny pack.
Like, so many people people literally spend hours picking out their outfit and what they're going to wear the next day. And it's like, then they got to incorporate that on there. They have like 50 items. Like, dude, it's like, how, like, you're wearing a hat, you're wearing glasses, you have your earbuds in, you got to make sure your AirPods. It's like a list of 50 different things before they can even go out. No wonder nobody wants to go out into the world anymore. Just getting dressed is damn stressful.
Yeah, not for me. I just grab a random Star Wars shirt, pair of sweatpants, my Airwalks. I'm good, man.
You got sweatpants on in public?
Oh, every day. I don't care.
God bless you,
I'm
sir.
to the age, dude, where I'd rather be comfortable, right, than anything. So yeah, dude, I wear sweatpants a lot. So plus I work from home. I wear sweatpants all day. And then like on the weekends right now, dude, I got sweatpants on right now. Dude, I went to, like I said, Texas Roadhouse today. Sweatpants, Star Wars shirt.
If you're choosing Texas Roadhouse as a classy restaurant, sir, you are mistaken.
Nah,
That's like saying,
classy.
I went to the Golden Corral and I wore my slacks. Like, what the fuck?
I'm just saying, like, I don't care where you're right. I don't care where I go. I'm gonna have sweatpants and a t-shirt on. I might break out my jeans every once in a while.
Do you have the acid wash jeans that have like the white stains on them?
No. I just have regular jeans, man.
People will do anything to look stylish. They'll even wear.
No, I mean, back in the day, I know one of your former somebody was on, I can't remember, but they were talking about like Jenkos and stuff. And I used to have some Jenko jeans when I was younger, like the really big baggy jeans. I mean, that was the style back in the early 90s. You had really big baggy jeans, and I bought them too. Yeah. Except I bought sorry, I didn't have Genco brand, because the Genco brands, those are like $80 or $90. So I always bought like the generic ones. So they made generic ones. You could get those for like 30, like 30 or 40 bucks compared to like 80 or $90.
If you look back then and look at some of the stuff that they have, and like that looked ridiculous as
Oh
shit.
my God,
Like the
crazy.
hoop earrings and like the
Yeah.
$1 million like wristbands or whatever on their freaking arm that went all the way up to their like shoulder where their arm cut
Yeah.
off circulation that
I
went
used to
purple.
put like yarn bracelets around my wrist. I had a bunch of them when I was in high school. I wore a pine, like, the tree, the pine air fresheners. Yeah, dude, I'd like loop like yarn around it. I wear it like as a necklace when I was in high school.
What the fuck?
Right?
That's crazy. You had that new car smell as your
Yeah,
deodorant.
I did.
That's nuts. Imagine you look into the future and they're looking back on us. What do you think would be ridiculous to them now? Do you think cell phones would ever be a part of that? Or do you think they're just going to evolve into something that
Oh, it'll
goes
be
out of your
something
head?
like it'll be something. Yeah, like you're right. We'll hit like a thing. We'll have an implant like under our skin. You're just like boop. You'll hit it, and you'll be like in Instagram. It'll just pop up like in front of your eyes, like yeah, like a screen in front of your face.
I could see the
Yep.
medical advancements in it. Like if you're a person and like you get a enhancement to where like if you got hit by a car and if you like fell and you had like a broken neck and a broken arm, then the robotic enhancements just fixed you and then you were
Yeah,
fine.
it's like Star. That is like Star Wars, man. Like if you get your hand chopped off, dude, they just give you a new hand. It's robotic, but it works just
I'm
like a
not gonna
regular
love
hand.
it the same like my original hand.
You
I'm not even.
might like it better.
I'm
It
not.
might be
I'm not even
turbocharged.
cracking the masturbation thing. I'm cracking a joke on like the aspect of like I wouldn't. It's the same thing. If you, it like think of this. Think of this. Ready? There was an episode of Rick and Morty where the dude would make him like save his spot in real life, and then it would like if he ended up doing something, he could just revert back to the save point that he had. And then eventually at the end, he's like, "Yeah, I'm done doing this. I don't like the save setting on this thing." And he goes, "Oh, those weren't saves. Those were another you in a different dimension that you were pulling. So you literally killed 1,000 of yourself in different dimensions." And he's like, "What?" He goes, "Yep, all those guys suffered because you thought you were doing this and you were living in the simulation thing." So imagine this. Imagine if you get hit by a car and you get transferred into another Mike Ferrando, like a tube somewhere, and you come out and you're like, hey, you're back. Welcome back. You died. Here's your clothes. Go back and do whatever you do. You accidentally got hit by a car. You're a clone of yourself. Think about that. After a while, you're like, you lost the original. It's like getting a new car, or it's like replacing something that you had for a very long time and then getting a new one. If you get your hand chopped off and they give you a robotic hand, you're going to miss your old fucking hand. Even though they gave you a new one that might be better, you're still going to miss your old hand. It's yours. It was the original piece and copy of you.
So there was a movie. It had Ewan McGregor in it and Scarlett Johansson, where I can't remember the name of it. Who's the guy who did all the Transformer movies?
Michael Bay?
Michael Bay. So it's a Michael Bay movie. And Ewan McGregor made a clone of himself. So you start like with him, but you start with the clone version of him. And then he breaks out of the facility and he finds like the real him. And dude, crazy movie. But like, so that's what you're saying. Like you make so like and the purpose of it. So like if you were dying or you needed like an organ transfer or something, you could get an organ transfer from yourself if you needed like,
oh my God, I remember what I thought about like a month ago that I totally forgot about to bring up in a podcast. It's never before heard on this show before. So imagine people talk about like if we create artificial intelligence, it'll eventually outsmart us and then probably exterminate us, right? That's like probably the 75%.
the Matrix. You're talking
That's
the Matrix.
a Terminator,
Yeah.
but that's about
What? Same thing.
not even fucking
Well,
close. I've seen Terminator. I haven't seen the
AI.
Matrix.
It's AI defeating like the human race.
Okay, well, it's kind of like the show The Orville, where they had the robotic species that's really like kind of like above all thinks they're better than everything, and it turns out they exterminated their creators. Imagine instead of the robots that we create exterminating us and realizing they're smarter than us, instead of like them enslaving us, imagine if they just decided to help perfect us, help make us better, help us solve a lot of our issues that we have. Like we created something that knows they're better than us, can exceed past our expectations, and still thinks of us as lower than them, but decides that like you're like how you would think of your parent as they get into their elderly stages. You know that this person used to be way higher than you. What you used to fear them because they were your parent. They could ground you at any moment when you were a little kid. But now you're bigger, you're stronger, you're healthier than they are. So now instead of thinking of them as like an enemy or thinking of them as your superior, you think of like, oh, you need me to survive. Let me help you. And it's helping them. You know what I mean? Imagine if the robots did that. Instead, they evolved to a point where like instead of exterminating us and realizing we're bad, they decided to help perfect us
Well,
and try and figure out ways to fix us.
I would like a version of like C3PO from Star Wars, except okay, like you said, like but like the nanny type. So like right, so you're ready to light up a cigarette, and he's like, "Sir, sir, uh, 200 out of 300 people die of lung cancer a year." Right? It gives you like a statistic. I wouldn't light up, sir. Please, please save your life, sir. Right? And it just keeps spewing stuff at you, like, oh, shut the fuck up. Don't you want to watch your son grow old, sir? Right, right,
First
right.
off,
It just keeps going. It's just like, shut up. You, if you light up, you will not outlive your father's age. Right. It just keeps like spewing shit at
damn,
you,
he
and then after a
attacked you with
while,
that
you're just
emotional
like,
side of
and then you're
things.
just like, oh fuck it. Very
Fir-
good, sir.
First off, that was a terrible fucking example to my awesome thing. Thank you.
What?
I don't want a robot that's supposed to be way better than us in every single way, smarter than us, trying to save the human race to be like, don't light up that American Spirit cigarette. No, I want him to be like, let's start fixing your starvation issues. Let's start fixing
Oh,
a lot of your conflict that's happening, your addiction issues. Let's fix those issues. I want to see a robot. First of all, I swear to God, if they're better than us, they're not talking like C3PO. They got to be talking like a normal person or something, but finding ways to fix us and make us better, like even therapy bots or something, where they're like, what do you feel like you should be doing? It's like, well, I don't really know. I feel like I should be doing this, but I have this job to work on. It's like, well, maybe if you try and prioritize and let's make a list. And then they figure out a list for you to be able to helping people in that
but
scenario of thing.
but the robot must be programmed by a human being. Hence, it will always be flawed.
Well, do you think eventually that they would evolve to a point where they would just keep creating
Oh, robots
themselves?
making robots? Is that
Yeah.
where we're going?
Well, you got to think if they've surpassed us in every way and they consider us inferior, but not to the point where they want to exterminate us, but more like when you look at your dog, it's kind of like you want to make sure you help it survive. And that's what they would do. They would want to help us survive. So they would just keep
Yeah,
creating
once
each other.
again, the robot jumps in. Sir, are you sure you want to feed your dog that brand of food? You should feed him this, sir. He will live
They're not
10
going to
more
be making
years.
adjustments like that. They're going to be fixing like political issues and
No, they're
shit.
going to be
You think he
programmed.
gives a hell
They're going
about
to be
what your dog
programmed.
eats Beneful
And
or
then
not?
once again, right? The whole family's in the living room, and here comes the robot. Father and mother, perhaps you should put your phones down and spend time with the children, sir. Oh, fuck off. Sir, you should give little Karen more attention. She really needs you right now and is going through a tough time. I'm
For
telling you.
that might help.
See?
But I wouldn't have him talking like that. I would be like, sir, maybe you should spend some more time with your family. Ah, fuck off. I'm watching Netflix. And then the robot just comes over, takes the remote out of your
Shuts you
hand,
off.
and goes, I said, why don't you spend more time with your family? It's like your voice got really deep and your eyes went red.
If you don't spend time with your family, I will terminate you. I see that's how they take us over.
Like, put a Mike Tyson robot. Like, you're not going to say no to that. You're just going to be like, okay. Man, they really got your face tattoo right.
Don't watch Netflix.
See, that becomes an issue though, because if you start making robots that look like people or look like famous people, then people are just going to be fucking them all the time.
Please don't watch the Netflix, Lieutenant Dan.
Stop. Stop. No, don't ruin Forrest Gump.
Oh shit. I'm telling you, we could have nanny robots who help us in everyday lives.
But that's the whole thought of what the aliens are, is maybe that they're here to help us, or maybe they've been helping us for a very long time. Maybe it's not just the fact of like Mars Attacks where it's an extermination thing.
You think it's like you ever seen the movie They Live with Roddy Piper?
No.
Ooh. Okay, since you're like really into like aliens and conspiracy theories, you would absolutely love this 80s movie.
First off,
They Live.
what are we talking about conspiracy theories? What is a conspiracy?
Will you let me finish? Can I finish? Can I finish? Okay, I'm finished. No, okay, so They Live. The premise is there are aliens living among us, but at the very beginning, there's these sunglasses, and the only way you can tell them apart from humans is if you have these sunglasses on, and then you can see what they really look like. Please tell me you're gonna watch. It's like it's an 80s movie. They Live. There's a very, very classic fight scene. It's got the guy from Ghostbusters. Is it Ernie Hudson? I think it's Ernie Hudson. Ernie Hudson and Roddy Piper. They have a classic fight sequence where they like fist fight, and there's no cuts. There's no cuts in the fight sequence. Very famous, like 10-minute fight sequence.
So you
That
can't
was
see them without the eyeglasses?
the aliens or whatever. Oh, you love it. You would love this movie.
Glad to know I can't fight extraterrestrial beings without my fucking aviators.
There you
Thanks.
go. And I didn't spoil anything because you find that out real early in the movie.
Like like the robots would be creating things like how there's those glasses that help people who can't see colors again. Like like if anything, robots would be working on ways to be able to fix us in those types of areas. Like, oh, you are missing a leg. We are going to try and create something that can replicate your leg. Like that's the whole fear of stem cells, was that it was injecting blank cells into you, and it was this, supposed to fix certain problems. But hopefully, coming up in the future, I'm going to get some more people that study PhD papers on stem cells, because I want to learn a little bit more about them. Mostly on the aspect of, I get why people are afraid and kind of rejected to it, because the idea of getting them is pretty difficult and kind of weird to our minds. But sooner or later, putting technology inside of your body is not going to be foreign. It's going to be a normal, common thing, just like, eye transplant surgery or something like that is. These things were stuff that if 100, 200 years ago would have seemed like the craziest things in the world, but now they're so normal. I'm like, I wonder what's going to be normal in 100 years, what's going to be normal in 200 years. Is it even plastic surgery? Sometimes it's still like, oh my God, you got plastic surgery? I couldn't tell. Like, it's weird, but it's normalized. It's this whole thing. Like, literally, you can take skin off of a cadaver and put it onto your skin. You have another person's skin onto your body. That is the weirdest thing.
Yeah, it's like Face Off. You ever see that movie?
Yeah, with Nick Cage.
Yeah, and John Travolta. Yeah, yeah.
John Travolta just canceled or closed out Scientology after 45 years.
What?
I'm not a fan of his, man.
Mr. Carter. What do you mean you're not a fan of John Travolta?
No, I didn't like during the pandemic. He hopped on his Instagram and social media and was like, "Hey, follow my son's TikTok," and then said his son's name, and then he's like, "All right, bye." And he didn't even. Everyone's struggling to get unemployment and dying and stuff, and he just comes out, "Hey, follow my son's TikTok, thank you," and then it got off.
Try to be a good dad, just like our robots are trying to be.
Yeah,
good
but no
robots.
no person wants to fucking hear you talk about your son's TikTok rather than try and get unemployment and try and survive for the next couple of months. But he did close out Scientology, so now he has a place in my heart.
So is that it? So like it's because that was like Tom Cruise, John Travolta, all like these big celebrities, right? Were in.
Well, there's probably a lot more people that are involved in Scientology that we really just don't know of yet, that just don't talk about it. Tom Cruise is like the major platform of it, but Tom Cruise is an interesting guy, man. I heard him talk about how what is it? Adderall, all those type of things, are those psychosis drugs, they're all kind of bullshit. And I was hearing his train of thought on it, and I was like, he makes a good point on some things, but also there's other things where it's like, yeah, I don't really know about that. But he's a very, very intelligent guy too. So listening to him talk was really interesting. I think everyone still thinks of him from that Oprah scenario where he's jumping up and down on the couch and stuff. But he's got a head on his shoulders for sure. I think a lot of people get misconstrued because they get labeled one thing for something they did, like the Amanda Bynes show or the Amanda show that used to be on Nickelodeon. It was like Amanda show. Well, that thing she was like a kid star, like a Macaulay Culkin. And then she went crazy with drugs and then got locked in a rehab for like a long time. And now she's just coming back up into the news again with, I mean, she looks gorgeous, but an idea like, oh, she's got a grill. She's got like this rapper style look to her. And it's just a white girl. So people are like, oh, it's a white girl trying to copy and steal style from her. And it's just like, oh my God. It's like, tabloid magazines started this, I think, when they used to see something on like a magazine like Regis Philbin punches Macaulay Culkin in the face. You're like, oh my God, I gotta read that. And you read it, and it's like there's no such thing of this happening in any of these articles.
No,
This is
it's
just the
all
headline
BS.
news.
Like, sir, I think you should put that trashy magazine down.
That whole thing I lost for a month that I thought was like the coolest topic to talk about. You have ruined it, and with one fucking example. Thank you. C3PO really, like, that's my question in Star Wars, besides Luke kissing his sister, was an aspect of you create a robot that talks with pauses. Like, why? Is he pausing for effect? I don't know.
I am fluent in 6 million forms of communication.
Except normal speaking. Normal speaking, you can't make a sentence without making me like, you know, how, imagine if a bomb was about to go off. All right, you got to cut the red wire. Well, first I must try. And it's like, we don't have time. We have 5 seconds until this bomb goes off. And he's like, well, sir, I'm trying to calculate. We're already dead, man. We're already dead because you can't even spit out a full sentence.
All right, so hold on. So like if if something happened in the world and there was like a zombie apocalypse, wouldn't you want your nanny droid with you?
Not if he's like C3PO. I'd be trying to be quiet or something. Next thing you know, he's like, sir, would you like a lemon tea? It's like, we're in the middle of a zombie apocalypse right now. You're going to ask me for a lemon tea. Is it hot or cold?
Hot tea.
Oh, that's even worse.
Why? What's wrong with hot tea?
Because it's hot.
Oh boy.
Unless it's coffee, I don't want it.
So you'll drink coffee, but you won't drink hot tea?
I like cold tea.
What? Oh, you like iced tea?
Yeah. Or just tea that's room temperature.
What?
You didn't think that was an option on the hot or cold list, did you? Room temperature tea.
So you like sweet or unsweet?
I tried sweet or unsweetened tea. It's not as good as sweet tea.
Yeah, it tastes like water.
No, it just tastes like black. Sometimes I taste a drink and I'm like, this just tastes.
You say that, but I can't say I'm in charge of a clan.
Another soundbite people are going to take from this. No, saying like a tea tastes like black or something. Have you ever had volcano ash water? It's just black water, but then you drink it and it tastes like nothingness, which is black. Nothingness is black. I'm not saying brown. I'm saying the color black. You're being racist by insinuating that's an ethnicity of people. Cancel Michael Ferrando. Cancel. I didn't want to talk about canceling anymore.
Just cancel.
Move on past it.
Cancel culture. Cancel culture. Cancel culture.
The only thing that should be canceled is your termination of an employment at a job.
Now that look, and like I said, I know you don't want to talk about it, but like the thing with like Gina Carano with like Lucasfilm, I and this goes for any company. So if you are going to fire people, I think it needs to be done fairly across the board. You can't let this person get away with doing this and then let this person get away with doing that. And then this person comes along.
Well, have you seen Mars Attacks?
Yeah, well, I told you like 20 years
ago.
That
movie pushes some boundaries, bro.
All the movies pushes boundaries back in the 80s.
Jack Nicholson goes, says something, and then a guy comes up and he clearly looks like it was a female that transitioned into a man. And do you think the aliens will be accepting and loving to male and females? That's exactly the line.
Now, you can't do, and that's my point. My point is movies in the 80s and the early 90s, the stuff in movies is very, to today's standards, is very, very offensive. I think as a culture, as a society, we need to get out of our fucking heads right now and maybe go back to right because everything goes in circles and cycles, right? I think we need to go back to kind of how it was like in the 80s or so and just be a little bit more open-minded and just know that just because we say the woman, man, female thing, it's just a joke in a movie. It's not representing us making fun of your entire like people and the ways of life and gay jokes and this like you could do that stuff back in the day and people knew, oh yeah, that's real, it's real offensive, but it's a joke. It was for a comedian's like set. It was part of his like jokes, like it
The
and
only thing you can make fun of now is yourself, or you can make
nothing.
fun of like blue people until we discover blue people. That's what Avatar basically was. It was like watching blue people have sex the whole time.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? Like everybody's so sensitive. Like even when you make a joke, they're just like, "Oh, what you hate those people?" No, I don't have an issue with those people. It was just a joke.
Well, it's just people assume that based on the stuff we have seen through media is that people are assuming that
Keyword, you just used it again.
yeah, assume.
Assume.
Yeah, well, people assume that when they see something somebody's saying, they consider that hateful things, like all the stuff that gets shown on the news, that people doing hateful acts like that. That's the issue, is why we need to make this a little bit more of a positive community. And that positive starts with showing things that are positive. You don't start your day off listening to something that's going to piss you off on the aspect of it's going to get you happy throughout the day. It's going to make you pissed off throughout the day. So start your day off with some more positive stuff. It's
Yeah.
listen to freaking Patch Adams in the morning, or
Yeah.
listen to something that you love in the morning, like a good song, or that's why we
Yeah,
have.
or listen to this. Good morning, sir. It is
Oh
so
God damn
sunny
it.
and bright
I'm going
outside.
back to bed.
You are full of sunshine.
Start the day off with a bacon cheese McGriddle from McDonald's or something,
That sounds delicious.
with the little sand on the muffins that
Mm,
feel good in between your cheeks.
the little sausage and the pancake McGriddle thing. So good.
All right, Mike, you've tempted my audience enough with your decisive decisions. Where can people find your wonderful, beautiful voice every hour on the hour?
You can find me
Oh
at
God,
Sith Talkers
no.
on all podcast platforms, on Apple Podcast, on Spotify, on Stitcher. Follow me on social media at Sith Talkers, on Instagram, on the Twitter, on Facebook. You can also find me on YouTube. I do reaction videos, all Sith Talkers. Lando, you are such a awesome person, because if you're smart enough and you're caring enough and you're handsome enough,
I'm wondering where you're gonna go with this. You seem like you're lost for words.
by golly, just be kind to people.
You're talking to yourself in the third person. The only person that's allowed to do that is Seal.